Okay, so it's been a while since I've done a Heroes Wrestling video. These aren't supposed to come out every month or every 3 weeks or whatever. It's whenever I have time to do them, and I officially have time to do them. WrestleMania season is right around the corner. By right around the corner, it's probably happening today if I posted this video. So I figured, what better video to do than the first ever WrestleMania? I have never seen the first ever WrestleMania, or pretty much any WrestleMania until like 7, I want to say. I wasn't even born when this WrestleMania happened. I would be 6 years later, though. So this is my review of WrestleMania 1, and it's probably not going to be a good one. We start the show off with an interesting slideshow intro, just pretty much showing what matches you're going to see, what superstars, what celebrities, so on and so on. We have Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse the Body Ventura on commentary. Howard Finkel will be your ring announcer, and Mean Gene is going to sing the national anthem. So this is a highlight already for the show. My favorite part about this national anthem, not that it's sung by Mean Gene, but the fact he needs cue cards to remember what the lyrics are. Our opening match is going to be Tito Santana versus the Executioner. Not gonna lie, had to look up who the Executioner was. It's Terry Gordy. Before the match starts, we're backstage with Mean Gene Okerlund interviewing both wrestlers. Tito's not worried about the Executioner, even though he hasn't lost a match yet. He's just worried about getting his IC title back from Greg the Hammer Valentine in the near future. The Executioner, on the other hand, is saying that he ain't no slouch, and he's going to break the leg of Tito Santana and make him pay, and he's going to make a name for himself tonight. My favorite thing about these little interviews, you have Mean Gene Okerlund, all right, so it's to his left or to his right, depending on how it starts. Say this is Tito Santana here, here's Mean Gene Okerlund. So he says what he has to say, and he's like, you know, talking like the guy's like 10 million miles away from him, being like, I'm gonna get you tonight, brother, whatever. And then like 2 seconds later, after he's done it, pans, and there's the guy he's facing. So literally he heard everything he said. So it's just real dumb. It's real stupid. They couldn't just like record these in separate rooms or something, then edited them together, because they weren't recorded live, so it doesn't make any sense. But I digress. It's their first WrestleMania. I'll let it go. Let's get into our first match. Let's see if it'll be a good one. Tito with a nice move early on in the match, has a nice headlock on the Executioner, runs up the top rope and hits him with a float over headlock. Executioner hits a reverse back body toss, able to get the advantage, decides to go to the top rope, but gets caught on the top, gets slammed off the top rope, eats a flying forearm by Tito Santana. Then the figure 4 leg lock gets applied by Tito, and he wins the match. And get used to that, because there's not much wrestling in this show. It's a lot of stalling, a lot of rest holds, and some punching. So first match gets a 1 star for me. It's a thing. Before I move to the next match, I'm just going to explain wrestling has come a long way. So I'm trying to put myself into the thought process of the fans that are there, because they're loving it. They're not shitting on anything, you know, they're enjoying their time. But as someone who's seen, you know, what wrestling has evolved into, it's kind of hard to look back at this and try to rate it fairly against the other shows. Like if I was like using like a 1980s brain and being like, sure, you know, that's a good match for the 80s, but I'm trying to keep everything even. So I'm not going to give like an 80s match the same treatment as, you know, a jobber match in like the mid 2000s. That's like 10 times better. So 1 star is what we're going to keep this at. Go backstage, we got some British bloke. It's Lord Alfred Hayes, I believe is what they were calling him. This dude's got some shifty eyes, man. It looks like he's waiting for someone to sucker punch him the entire time. He shows up a couple times throughout WrestleMania, pretty much before every match, to break down what is happening, like in the stories and whatnot. And he just doesn't look sure of himself the entire time. And it's probably my favorite part of the entire pay-per-view, I'm being honest with you. So our next match is going to be SD Jones versus King Kong Bundy. You might be asking yourself who SD Jones is, and I couldn't tell you. All I know about SD Jones is he really wants to get down.
We gonna get down today, baby.
And of course, you got King Kong Bundy, no introduction needed, the original 5-count master. So the bell rings. Jones tries to go flying at King Kong Bundy. He gets caught in the bear hug, gets run into the turnbuckle, hits an avalanche slam, then a splash. 1, 2, 3, match over. That's it. Quickest victory of all time in wrestling at this point in time, anyways. A 9-second victory for King Kong Bundy. Absolutely squashes, literally, SD Jones in this match. Another 1 star match. I could give it a 0 because it's not really a match, but I'll give it 1 star because it was entertaining enough to me where, you know, it's funny to watch King Kong Bundy squish people, so why not? Move right ahead to our next match. We got Matt Borne, yes, Doink the Clown, but not as Doink the Clown, as Matt Borne, facing off against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, so things might actually pick up in this one. Matt Borne backstage with Mean Gene says that Ricky is too nice, and that's why he's going to win the match tonight. Steamboat literally a second later, right next to him, instead of just having them talk to each other, says that he's going to show Matt Borne his mean side tonight. Early on in this match, you can already see how Ricky Steamboat is like way out of his time and how wrestling is going to evolve in the future. It's 2 double leapfrogs over Matt Borne, then finishes it off with a chop. He then reverses a back suplex with a flip over, catches Matt Borne in an atomic drop. Borne then fights Steamboat into a corner and hits him with a nice belly-to-belly suplex, and follows that up with a nice suplex. Borne trying to keep on the offense, but gets caught with a swinging neck breaker by Ricky Steamboat. Steamboat goes to the top rope, flying cross body for the 3. Steamboat picks up the victory. Looking at this, I was like, this is probably going to be the best match of the night. I had no idea what the card is, like always. I never really look at the card. I kind of know what matches were on this, but not when they were going to, show up. And I was like, Ricky Steamboat, I'm expecting something, so we're going to give this one a 2. I think it could have been better if they got more time, honestly. It was a very short match, like most of these early matches on the pay-per-view, very, very short. But it was definitely a lot quicker pace and a lot more exciting in my eyes anyways. So this was, in my head, going to be the best match of the night. Up next, we got David Sammartino. Yeah, Bruno's son with Bruno Sanmartino facing off against Brutus Beefcake with Luscious Johnny. I've never honestly heard of Luscious Johnny. This is the first time I've ever heard of this guy. I also didn't know that Bruno Sanmartino had a son in wrestling. So the more you know. Their little backstage interview with Mean Gene. David Sammartino, honestly, not that bad on the mic. I just assumed like he was there because he's Bruno's son. Like, I honestly don't know anything about this guy, and he's actually had a longer wrestling career. I'm not sure like what happened to him, but Beefcake on the mic just makes a fart noise for some reason. Don't know why, but
That's enough! That's enough! I will not let this man talk!
We start this thing off with just knowing how popular Bruno is. We're in Madison Square Garden, and the crowd is absolutely loving him as he makes his entrance with his son. Brutus being a dick at the beginning of the match, not wanting to lock up with David. David able to catch Brutus with a drop toe hold, though. Brutus then goes for a scoop slam, but David's able to keep the arm trapped and rolls through it. It was a really nice maneuver. Brutus then hits a stiff shoulder block, taking down David. David Sammartino then hits the dreaded spinning toe hold on Brutus Beefcake. Brutus is able to fight out with some forearms, though. Then follows that up with a big slam. Brutus then starts to work over David Sammartino for most of the match. David then hits a back body toss and a suplex, but only for 2. Brutus then tosses David out of the ring, which gives Luscious Johnny a chance to attack David, but Bruno Sanmartino, not having any of that, chases Luscious Johnny into the ring. All 4 men start beating each other up, and the ref just calls it a double DQ. That's the match. Honestly, this is my favorite match of the night. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna just ruin that for you right now. I thought for sure, like going into this, like I was saying, I thought David Sammartino would be like, David Flair in that regard, where it's like, the big superstar with his son wanted to be a wrestler, so they put him in, and he wasn't that great. That's why I never heard of him, but he was actually quite good. My guess, I haven't looked it up or anything. My guess is that Vince just didn't see him as like the next big thing, like Hulk Hogan or whatever, and he just didn't really want to push him, so he kind of just went and did his own thing, because I don't recall him being a big name at all in WWF. I don't know if anyone has better knowledge of the other territories at the time, if he went somewhere else and did something, or if he just retired like quickly after this. I have no idea. Feel free to comment down below. Yeah, I'm gonna give this 2 stars as well. I wanted to give it a 3. I didn't really like the ending. I was hoping for more. I really did like the mat work by David Sammartino, and Brutus played his role well as well, so it's a pretty good match, honestly. If you're going to go out of your way to watch any of the matches, I suggest this one. Up next, we got Junkyard Dog versus the IC champion, Greg the Hammer Valentine, with Jimmy Hart as his manager. Valentine says he is the master of the figure 4. I'm sure somebody would disagree with that. And I guess Junkyard Dog is an actual dog, because he says he's going to buy a lot of bones if he wins the IC title. Okay, sure, why not? So far throughout this entire pay-per-view, we haven't had a single actual entrance, and Junkyard Dog is the only person so far to have one, with music and everything, and it makes sense. That's what it was like his whole gimmick, pretty much, right? It was his entrance. People loved it. Start the match off, JYD all over Greg Valentine, hits him with the JYD headbutts as well. Valentine starts to work at the leg of Junkyard Dog, trying to set him up for that figure 4. Goes for it, but the dog is able to kick him off just in time. The Junkyard Dog hits a nasty headbutt. Junkyard Dog not able to capitalize, though, because Jimmy Hart's distracting him on the ropes. As that's happening, Greg the Hammer Valentine looking to sneak attack Junkyard Dog, but Junkyard Dog gets out of the way and he hits Jimmy Hart instead. Junkyard Dog looking to take advantage of this, gets his eye poked, I believe, and then just gets his leg swept from underneath him. Valentine uses the ropes, gets a 3 count, and that's the match. Or is it? Tito Santana, remember him? He wants the IC title. He comes out and changes the ref's mind, just saying, yeah, Valentine's feet were on the rope. And he's just like, yeah, I guess so. And then starts counting him out, and he counts him out. So Junkyard Dog wins, and Greg the Hammer Valentine is still the IC champion. So yeah, okay, sure. 1 star. All right, it's time to get into some big boys now, because we got the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkoff with classy Freddie Blassie as their manager, facing off against the US Express, Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham, with Captain Lou Albano as their manager. Only one thing that matters about their backstage segment: Iron Sheik calling Mean Gene mean. That's my favorite thing. Volkov does his rendition of the Soviet national anthem to a chorus of boos from the American fan base. Iron Sheik is also in his weird shorts in this match. Get a nice hip toss, drop kick, and a slam from Mike Rotunda. Iron Sheik and Volkov looking for a double team, but Iron Sheik drop kicks Volkov instead. The American Express are all over Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov at this point. Until Sheik is able to hit a back body toss and falls out with an elbow drop. Hits a nice gut wrench as well, and they work over Rotunda. Barry Windham gets into this match, hits a nice drop kick, falls out with a bulldog, which I believe is his finisher. Sheik saves Volkov from taking the pin. Ref loses control of this match, and at this point, classy Freddie Blassie gives the cane to Iron Sheik. He hits Barry Windham with it, and Volkov gets the pin. So new tag team champions and Nikolai Volkov and Iron Sheik here tonight. Honestly, I thought this match was going to be pretty good. I was like, all right, we got some pretty heavy hitters in Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov. We got some younger guys in Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham. Both of them could wrestle. And it started off okay. I thought it was going to be pretty good, but it just ends. Like, out of nowhere. It just ends. It's like, okay, let's get to the end quickly. We need more time for stupid matches later on in the night. So I feel like this match could have been better, but was pretty mediocre. So again, another 1 star. And now it's time to get into the actual WrestleMania matches, as I like to call them. Ones that are gimmicky and full of celebrities. So we'll start with the gimmick one first. We got Big John Studd facing off against André the Giant in a slam match. Yes. So Big John Studd and Bobby Heenan, I suppose, challenge André Giant to a slam match. If André is able to win, he'll get $15,000. Ooh. But if he loses and he can't slam Big John Studd, he's got to retire from wrestling. So I'll save you the boredom of watching this match, because it is boring. Studd attacks early. André doesn't give a damn. André doesn't just keep Studd in the corner. Punches him, kicks him, punches him, kicks him. Hits him with his ass, his big giant André ass. Then literally doesn't ever try to pick him up once. There's no hope spot, then a double axe handle or something. Just picks him up and slams him. That's the end. That's the match. It's 15 minutes of boredom. André then grabs the duffel bag of cash, which is the funniest thing ever, and just starts throwing it to the crowd. Somehow Bobby Heenan's able to sneak up behind him and take it out of André's hands without him grasping on it with his giant bare hands. See, this I'm not going to give a rating, because I don't think this is a match. It is technically, but it's not, because it's literally called a slam battle or something of that nature. Slam challenge. So there's a bell and there's no pinfalls, so you can't really call it a match. It's more of just a long, drawn out André segment, and it's not great, but it's also André the Giant, so I'm still going to give it 1 star. Now let's get to the celebrities. We got Wendy Richter with Cyndi Lauper facing off against the ladies champion, not women's champion, the ladies champion, Leilani Kai, who I have no idea who that is, and with the shitbird as her manager, aka Fabulous Moolah. Richter hits this really interesting hammerlock slam, which I really enjoyed. I want to see more people use that move. Leilani keeps choking a bitch, but the ref doesn't seem to care. She does it 8 times in this match, and he just doesn't give a damn. Richter is then able to fight out of it, backs Leilani in the corner, but Fabulous Moolah just grabs her by the hair and tries to pull her out of the ring. Ref still doesn't care. Cyndi Lauper comes over, kind of breaks it up. Richter then essentially just deadlifts Leilani, picks her up with a fireman's carry, and then just gives her a slam, which was a really nice move. A lot of impact on that. Leilani then hits a slam of her own, decides to go to the top rope, goes for a crossbody. Richter is supposed to roll through, but she kind of completely hits the crossbody. Then they kind of struggle to get over, and Wendy Richter wins the match. Another nothing match, I literally, I'm trying to think of things to say to break down these matches, but they all just stay the same, essentially. A couple moves, fight into a corner, punch, kick, slam, back body toss. It's all the same shit, just with different faces. That's another 1 star. At least we'll keep it steady. It's main event time. We got a big main event. The WWF title is it's not. It's not on the line. Oh, but the wrestlers, of course, they're going to come out first. Oh, no, they're not. We got Billy Martin as a special guest ring announcer. I think that's what his name was anyways. I'm pretty sure that's what I took down. I have no idea who he is. I think he worked with the Yankees or something. I think that's what they said. I don't know baseball. I'm Canadian. Also, Liberace's here for some reason. He's coming out with some ladies and they're just doing some kicks. Sure, why not? Liberace, he's a big wrestling fan. The crowd loves it though, so I guess they knew what they were doing. Also, Muhammad Ali is the special guest referee. Well, the outside referee, whatever the hell that means. But it was cool to see him. Oh, here comes the wrestlers and the main event. It's Rowdy Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff with Cowboy Bob Orton, who they kept calling Ace. So I don't know if he's Ace Bob Orton or if he's actually Cowboy Bob Orton or whatever his name is. Piper has a pretty cool entrance. He's got a bunch of bagpipers coming out to play out his team. And they're facing off against Hulk Hogan and Mr. T, as y'all know. I'm sure, I don't know, this isn't a surprise to any of you, I bet. They got Jimmy Snuka in their corner because, he's a good guy. He never did anything wrong in his career. Pat Patterson is the actual referee, so that's kind of interesting. Didn't know he ever reffed. Start things off with Orndorff and Hogan, but Orndorff doesn't want anything to do with Hogan. Tags in the Rowdy one. And then Mr. T really wants in. The crowd wants him. Hogan wants him in, so Hogan tags him in. We start things off with Mr. T and Rowdy Roddy Piper. Get a couple slaps back and forth. Piper then takes down Mr. T, but Mr. T is able to get out of it. Piper's shocked by that. Mr. T then slams Rowdy Roddy Piper. Then all hell breaks loose. Everyone's coming in and out of the ring. But Muhammad Ali able to put the fear of God in everyone and settle them down to get back into this match. But after they all settle down, Piper and his team decide to leave. They said they're out of here. They're flipping off the crowd. Hogan doesn't want to count a victory. He tells the ref to stop counting. And as soon as he does, I guess the security brings the wrestlers back to the match, which I thought was kind of interesting. You don't see that ever. Hogan then double rams Orndorff and Piper into each other. Hits the atomic drop on Piper. I think that's like the third or fifth atomic drop in this pay-per-view. Mr. T then slams Piper and then gets a nice quick snappy hip toss on Orndorff as he tries to get in the match. Hogan takes a tumble to the outside and Piper just hits him square blank with his chair. No one cares though. The referee doesn't give a damn. We got a double atomic drop now. I guess that's different on Hulk Hogan. Hogan then starts getting worked over by both Piper and Orndorff. Orndorff hits a real nice backbreaker. Looked really nasty. Decides to go to the top rope. Looks like he's going for a knee drop, I believe, and he misses. Mr. T gets the hot tag and immediately gets cut off and gets nothing. It was kind of odd. I thought for sure he would have done something. Hogan, maybe a minute later, is back in the match with a hot tag. The Cowboy Bob Orton tries to stop him, but Jimmy Snuka gets in the ring and stops the Cowboy from attacking Hogan. Then all hell breaks loose one more time. Hogan has his arms trapped by Orndorff. It looks like Piper's going to go for the punch, but Mr. T saves him. They turn around. The Cowboy on the top rope with the cast comes down, hits Orndorff in the top of the head, and Hogan picks up the victory. I honestly don't know these matches. How is wrestling popular? It was just over the top characters, right? It had to be at this point in time. It was a hard watch. I'm not gonna lie. I tried to go into it trying to think, a lot of the slower things, like for example, like I was saying, the David Sammartino match, I enjoyed that because I like mat wrestling. It doesn't matter how slow the match was or how little moves there was still good selling back and forth, and it made sense for the most part. A lot of this shit was just like move here, move here, move here, very slow, very slow, very slow. Something cheap or quick roll up or just random win out of nowhere. It just didn't do it for me for the most part. Especially this match. This match was a cluster, a big time clusterfuck is what it was. It was all over the place. But like I said, people enjoyed it, so I just can't put myself back into like that frame of mind because I never had that frame of mind, right? I never grew up in this era, so like I'm not gonna be like it was a shit pay-per-view and the wrestling's terrible. Like if you enjoy it, you enjoyed it, as a kid or whatever. But it's just not my cup of tea, that is for sure. And I'm sure it's not most people's cup of tea if they go back and watch it. It's pretty hard to watch. Like, you go a couple of WrestleManias ahead now and you're going to start getting guys like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and, guys that could work in the ring and tell stories in the ring properly. Not like saying like Roddy can't or most of these guys can't do that. It just didn't feel like that. It's just wrestling evolved pretty quickly, I find, in the next couple of years after this compared to where it was. It felt more like, it's going to sound weird, but more like real fighting. Like it was still trying to be real. Because obviously now with wrestling, you got people doing ridiculous stuff and so on and so forth. But this was like a lot like, beat downs, a couple elbow strikes, elbow to the head, a couple fists, open hand slaps or whatever. Knee strikes were very vicious in this as well, a lot of the matches. I guess you could say it felt a bit more like a real battle than or like a wrestling match, if that makes sense. That's the best way I could describe it anyways. This match is going to get a 1 star for me as well. David Sammartino is my shining star of this. I never thought I'd be saying that because I had no clue who he was, but that is literally the only match I'd go back and watch if I had to. What I really want to know is if you grew up in this era and you somehow stumbled across this video, if you grew up in the 80s as a kid or maybe like a young teenager or something watching this, And have you gone back and watched it and seen if you still like it, or if, like, you know, you have good fond memories of it, or if you actually still enjoy this style of wrestling? Let me know in the comment section below. For me, this is not a great pay-per-view at all. Probably the worst one we've seen. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 1-star overall. But it was fun to go back to the past and just see how things have changed in wrestling in general. So that was kind of interesting. But will I ever watch this again? No, most likely not. But I hope you guys enjoy your WrestleMania weekend. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like. Tell me what you thought of this pay-per-view if you've seen it yourself. If you haven't, go and watch it just for the sake of, you know, it's the first ever WrestleMania, and that's the reason why we're doing this review, because I've never seen it. I feel like you have to see it, you know, for the history's sake of it. Is it the worst WrestleMania of all time? I'm not sure, because like I said, I haven't seen a few other ones after this. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you sometime in the future. Don't ask when, but it'll come eventually. So until next time, La Parka wins, baby. Oh, he's up there now. That's right. He's over there. La Parka wins.